Today we're talking about the Delaware County Symphony, some of the upcoming events and past performances. Hello and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Laura Jones. With me is Tim Ribchester. He's the music director of the Delaware County Symphony. Maestro, good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Now this is your first year with Delaware County Symphony, so can you tell us a little bit about some of the performances that you've had so far?
Well, our season got off to a great start. We did the Dvorak New World Symphony, which was a symphony I really wanted to do. It was the last symphony I conducted in England, and actually the first one I performed in the United States. So it brought things full circle for me. We had a great soloist, Mimi Stillman, playing Vivaldi and Bizet, and the audience absolutely loved what we were doing. And so things got off to a great start. Then the next concert, which was supposed to take place recently, was actually snowed out.
Our weather has not been very cooperative, but that's being rescheduled for the winter?
Absolutely. So what happened was this snowstorm came down very suddenly, and so we had to cancel, unfortunately. But the very good news is, and especially good news for people watching, we're rescheduling for January 26th. So it'll take place on that day, and that's with Amy Oshiro Morales from the Philadelphia Orchestra playing the concerto solo.
Wow. Now, there's going to be another performance on May 4th that has to do with symphonies or numbers that people may recognize, like Beethoven's Fifth, Tchaikovsky's Fifth, or is it Tchaikovsky's? Yeah, Fifth.
That's right.
Beethoven's da 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 da. Now you've got some interesting historical information.
Sure. Well, these are the two big Fifth symphonies. They're known very well by music lovers, and both of them deal with this idea of fate and how the individual struggles against fate and ends up overcoming it. But they do it in very different ways, because Beethoven was really trying to change the classical architecture of the symphony into something much more expressive and romantic and subjective, at the same time as holding on to that architectural, real integrity and solidity. So when he has this idea of fate, it really is just that pa-pa-pa-pam motive that you're talking about. He uses that as a building block, and really he never gets away from that theme. What's extraordinary is how he's able to just develop that theme in so many fabulous ways without ever needing to expand on it or tweak it or change it. He just develops it and stacks it together, and it kind of just feeds through the orchestra and becomes the unifying feature.
Okay, and what about Tchaikovsky's?
With Tchaikovsky, what he does instead is dramatic contrast. I mean, he's writing at a time when people had come to expect, from operas that the characters would have very contrasting personalities. And for him, fate is a much longer kind of melodic idea, and he has much more sort of shifts and mood swings that happen from moment to moment, and it's a much more, even more romantic kind of concept there. So he was struggling with, of course, being gay at a time when that was really not accepted by the establishment, and Beethoven, of course, was struggling with deafness. So both of those guys had their real life struggles, and you can follow this journey.
And people just, take it for granted. It's just music, but there's so much more to it. Let's, in the brief moments that we have left, talk a little bit about how you all reach out to young people in the youth concerto.
Well, we have a concerto competition every year, and we select a winner who's a student, normally a teenager who is either beginning their college studies or finishing their high school studies. And we have Carolyn Semes, a very talented young violinist who won our competition recently. And I cannot wait to conduct the piece that she is playing. It's the Brooke Scottish Fantasy. And being raised in Scotland, then that's a piece that's very close to my heart. I played it in my county youth orchestra on cello about 20 years ago.
And tell us what you started with.
That's what I started with.
And some of the winners of this have actually gone on to Juilliard.
That's correct. That's right. They tend to go on to major conservatories and sometimes have solo careers.
And just final thoughts of the importance of how music can really impact an individual education and just their life.
I just think it's an amazing way to train your mind and your body, above all to collaborate, to listen to people around you, to react to that, and to express yourself within a community. That's what community orchestras are all about, but at the professional level too, that's what we're doing.
Tim Ribchester, Maestro, Delaware County Symphony. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for watching this edition of Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Laura Jones.